So, welcome, Moon Boots, to the Sunshine Live interview. So happy to talk today to you.
Same. Yeah, thanks for having me.
We will talk a little bit about your upcoming album. It's called Right Away.
Hmm.
And so let us talk about first about a typical production day because you're sitting in the studio, right? At the moment, I'm seeing something around you,
I
equipment.
am. Yeah, it's kind of tough for me to move my webcam because it's like I like taped it onto my screen. But yeah, I've got all my gear here. Um and yeah, there's like there's a couple, there's a whole other wall of synths over here and over here that you can't really see. But yeah, this is my studio, my man cave, if you will. Yeah. Where that
So
happens.
So, Pete, can you describe a typical production day?
So when I'm writing, I just like to come up with as many ideas as I can, and I'll usually try and do like at least one or a couple a day. And just usually I'll start with, I mean, it kind of depends. I used to always just start with like chords or like a voice memo on piano, or I'd be listening to something, or I'd have like a playlist of things, and then I'd just be like kind of jamming along to them. And it really depends, every track kind of starts differently. um or maybe it just starts with like a drum pattern or something like that. But yeah, usually when I start writing, it's just me in the room coming up with like lots and lots of little sketches of ideas, and then I'll play them for collaborators, and in most cases um they come in here with me, and we, maybe they have like a phrase or something, or maybe not even. And we just kind of like, make it happen
So
together. So that's
you
the way I
pre-
like to work.
so
Yeah.
you prefer to be with everybody in the studio, or do you things
I
about?
prefer.
Okay, yeah.
It's not always so,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's I prefer. And of course, a lot of the tracks we started during when it was, obviously a lot more difficult at kind of like peak COVID, so there was less traveling, but there was still some. It wasn't in 2020 really, but in 2021, and some of the collaborations were remote. There's one that I really, well, a couple that I really, the remote ones I love just as much. I don't want to make it sound like I don't like them. It's just it's a different process. So I do love them both. But yeah, so it's a mix, I guess. But a lot of it was in the room here, but not all of it.
Okay, and are you more a daily or a nighttime producing person?
I'm definitely more of a daytime, but I will work into the night. It depends. My schedule has definitely changed in the past like 7 months. I have a 7 month old daughter.
Oh,
Um, so there's like definitely fewer late nights happening, and I'm up earlier, which isn't bad actually. I kind of it's cool. Um, so, but yeah, I'm always like, I've never been like a guy that would just start late at night. I always feel like even if I work late, like I still need to have some juice going by like 2 or 3, or I know it's going to be a waste of a day. So,
okay.
yeah,
So better for you when you have now a daddy schedule. If you were
yeah, I'm
before.
figuring it out. Yeah, the
So
dad schedule.
what's the most wonderful thing about being a father?
Seeing her smile and laugh is just like I never it like really doesn't get old. It's so great. And our daughter is like, I feel like we won the baby lottery. She's just like so cute, and she's smiling all the time. And I drop her at daycare, and the other kids are crying like crazy, and she's just like, hey, like, so it's just like, yeah, it's my girl. So I don't know. It's I could go on and on. She's the best.
Aww.
Yeah.
um, Is she liking your music as well?
Well, it's funny because she's still like I said, she's 7 months, and I will like make up silly songs to her. I think she's just starting to like respond more to like sounds or things that like I feel like at first she would only respond to like my voice in front of her. She wouldn't like respond to like something from the phone or the speaker or playing music on whatever. And now she's starting to respond to it, and she's starting to like move and get a little rhythm. And so it's exciting. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and then when she will start like standing and just try to dance, so think amazing
Oh, I
months
know.
will come.
Can't wait. I can't wait, really. Yeah.
You said something about your album, like creating my new album right away helped keep me going through unsteady times and joyous
Hmm.
times. So, where do we find these maybe ups and downs in tracks on the album? Are there special ones to this? Yeah, the tracks are like special moments, times, and feelings.
It's interesting because I find that like some of the like happiest music I've made is like when I was, and this is not just in the past year, it's like kind of always, it's like when I was feeling kind of like just at the time, whatever, I was kind of like miserable, and I'm just like, what's gonna give me that shot of endorphins to get me through the day and get me excited. And that's really like what I go for in music more than anything. It's not just about obviously I want it to be danceable, and I want it to have energy, and in that sense, but it's also just about like the emotional sort of like lift, it's that's really what it's about for me. But yeah, I think there's a lot of that on this album. I think it's actually probably one of the happiest uh pieces of music I made, which is, it did help me get through it on steady time. And there are probably fewer, there were some kind of dark and sort of minor, crazy, noisy things that are on my first two albums. There's always a couple. And this album doesn't really have that. Everything's pretty bright and fun, and just like that is, I don't know, that's what I was looking for, what I look for when I'm in the studio right now. So yeah.
So, do you have a favorite track on the album?
You, well, of the ones I want to shout out ones that haven't been released as singles, and there's two. Unfortunately, we've been able to release a lot of them as singles, which is good. It like gives them each a little more like attention and kind of time to like sort of seep in, to people's uh playlists and whatever, hopefully. But yeah, there's one song called Refuge with my friend Steven, who he actually helped come up with, right away the title, and we did that song together. Um but yeah, that's kind of like a slow burn, almost kind of like a Jai Paul with like a little like sort of like almost like it parts of it sound a bit like The Wall, like Pink Floyd. Very like kind of just but like epic kind of stuff. And I love that song. I think it's so cool. It's so different. And there's another song I did with this singer, Dope Earth Alien, who she just did a couple of singles, one for Honey Dijon's most recent album, and then she just did another single with Honey Love. And she's really dope. She's amazing singer, kind of MC, super cool. And I did like a R&B track with her that's sort of like somewhere between like R&B and kind of like slow piano house. That one's called On and On. And the first one's called Refuge. If I didn't say that before, sorry.
Yeah, you said
So
it.
Refuge, and On and On. Both of them really special to me. So, yeah.
And you have these disco vibes on the album.
Hmm.
So, if you can imagine your dream club, how is it?
My dream club. Um,
Because I was
I
always
think,
imagine like you're staying in your studio and being like, yeah, it's a disco now. Where
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm like, it's funny because I've moved and it depends. Obviously, sometimes I play really big places and sometimes it's like not so big. I prefer if I'm like going out, I like to be in sort of a smaller club. I don't I do like to go to big stadium shows sometimes, of course. It's cool to see the whole spectacle and everything, but more often I like a more intimate club. I think the having really the lighting systems that they've developed in the past few years, it just gets better and better. It's crazy. Some places the lighting is just unreal. So lighting, sound, ambiance, and not too many people is always kind of key to me. But I love a good outdoor party in the summer too. So, it doesn't have to be a dark, tiny club.
And
Yeah.
which kind of drink you need at the bar?
I am if I'm trying to get a little loose, I like some tequila, but most of the time just like a beer is cool. So
Okay, that's easy
yeah,
to find in every club.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't have to look too hard.
um, I said something. I see something you said in an interview, like when you finish your song, you want to smoke like weed to check if if the song is good. Is it like a joke or is it real? Your ritual, like okay, the track is now finished, and now I will have a look how it feels to me when I'm stoned.
Well, it's funny because I was talking in that interview about like especially when I started making music and I did like I've kind of been off and on for years and there was a while where in terms of like, smoking or taking edibles or anything like that and I've definitely probably I I do enjoy them now like pretty often. For a time I didn't, but I would still like yeah, it was kind of like a way to check the vibe. And it's one of those things, like he said, like, does it sound good in the car? Does it sound good in a club? Does it sound good when you're like drunk or when you're high? Like, these are kind of important things, I think, when you're making music. It seems like a joke, but it's also like, you know, it's pretty important. So
Yeah,
since people are listening to music when they want to relax and have a good time, so you wanted to match that situation.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's quite smart because most of the time maybe the people will listen to the music when they're celebrating. So when they're
Yeah.
drinking alcohol or taking some drugs. So yeah, that sounds really, really that makes sense.
It's kind of obvious in a way, yeah, but I guess most people don't really say it that way, but yeah. Yeah.
um and in which moments should our listeners listen to the album?
I mean, I don't want to put any rules. I think that if people, because people have different habits, and some people like want to hear music first thing in the morning to get pumped up, and other people are like, oh, I can't hear music until like the middle of the day or whatever. Everyone's got kind of different habits. So I think, however you want to hear it, be my guest. I don't want to put any restrictions. So
Okay.
I hope people listen to anytime they feel like it. Yeah.
Um at the moment, are you sitting in Chicago or where are you at?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Ah,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So I've never been there.
Oh,
Is
you have to.
Yeah, if you should choose one thing you have to visit to in Brooklyn, what is it?
Hmm. If you've never been to Brooklyn ever, um, this is kind of obvious, but I would go to because also it means you probably haven't been to New York City then. I would say, um, I would go to the Brooklyn Bridge. I really would, and see the view from the promenade into downtown Manhattan. It's unbelievable. It's really great. And then I could suggest another 50 things to do after that, but that's probably the first thing I would suggest.
The first one to start in the
Is to go over the Brooklyn Bridge. It's kind of cliche almost, but it's beautiful. And if you haven't seen it, it's really great.
Are you sometimes there? Because I'm sitting in Berlin and I'm just visiting the Berlin Sings when people
Yeah,
visit me. So
yeah.
are you at the Brooklyn Bridge sometimes or only with
I
friends
actually do. I get my hair
visiting?
cut around there, and so I will like ride a bike there, and I just like see the view of the. It's called the promenade, and it's just like, oh, this is amazing, and especially on a summer day, it's really cool. Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
So the release will be on Friday.
Hmm.
And then I think you will do some touring, presenting. So what comes next?
Well, I'm working on my live show right now, so that's exciting, and it's kind of like I'm programming all the sounds and right now figuring out like new parts, and I can like um there's ways, like when you're making a song, like it needs to be like, oh, the chorus should sound the same, but if you're doing a live show, then it's like, no, it doesn't have to be like everything could be. You want to just keep hitting new different ideas and everything and more chords, more everything. So that's fun. I am doing some DJ sets coming up too. I've got one in London and one in Holland in April. And then I have a bunch later this summer. And I'm starting some new things too, like kind of on the burner. So get some new music going as well, because the fun never stops. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Okay, so but you don't have finished your fourth album because sometimes you're talking to artists and they are like, "Yeah, now I'm releasing my album, but I think I have the next one already."
Oh wow. No, I am not there yet. No, no, but it's
Okay,
okay.
yeah, it's super okay. I'm always like,
Yeah.
"Okay, wow."
Yeah. That's impressive. Yeah.
So thank you so much for this little chat.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the support and for playing the music. And I hope everyone listening really likes what they hear and has some favorite tracks. Feel free to drop me a line on Instagram or wherever. Um, I always check this stuff. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so Pete, thank
Yeah, yeah.
you and happy release day on Friday. And yeah, hopefully you will come to Germany as well.
I know. Next time I really want to go. Absolutely. I need to play Berlin. I'd love
Yeah,
to. Yes.
would be amazing.
Sehr gut.
So thank you so much and have a nice day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.